Greetings everyone. I welcome you all to the inaugural episode of Minding What Matters, an interview series started by Mind Over Matter, the Economic Society of Aryabhatta College, University of Delhi. This is your host for the session, Jatin. Jain. Now, without any delay, let me introduce you to a speaker for the very first session of Minding What Matters, Mr. Sunil Sharma. Mr. Sunil Sharma is the Fellow of Institute of Actuaries of India and Institute and Faculties of Actuaries UK. He is currently President, Chief Actuary, and CRO of Kotak Life. He also heads Enterprise Risk Management function at Kotak Life. He is also the member of Council and member of Life Board in Institute and Faculties of Actuaries UK. He was the immediate past president of Institute of Actuaries of India, serving the position from September 2018 till August 2020. In this interview, we have discussed about the future of COVID crisis and its impact on Indian economy, the actual profession, especially the insurance and banking sectors, and we have also discussed about some effects of online working on individual. In the last part of the discussion, we focused on actual profession, its broader domains, and actual student community. Okay. Good evening, sir. I am Jatin Jain, President, Mind Over Matter, the Departmental Economics Society of Aryabhatta College, University of Delhi. We are here with our first interview series named as Minding What Matters. As it is our first interview, we are highly obliged to have you here. So, your life experience and words of wisdom will surely help us to gain valuable insights. So, sir, how are you and how this COVID pandemic went for you?
No, I'm good, Jatin, and thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here and really record that video for the benefits of our students community. Yeah, the COVID has been difficult for everybody. I think so. I'm no different from others. Uh, but we're moving towards normal. I think a large proportion of the population has been vaccinated, and therefore you would see now. I think the economic activities have started, and perhaps God willing, we would be too moving towards normalcy.
Yeah, and sir, it is our pleasure and honor to have such an esteemed guest in the inaugural episode of our interview series. And so, as you mentioned, the vaccination. So I would start off this interview with the first question of vaccination. Recently, we have vaccinated 1 billion people. So, what are your views on this 1 billion vaccine doses? Is it a landmark achievement in your views?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think we are such a huge country, world's second largest populated country, and the amount of efforts that have gone into really achieving this is amazing. I think the number itself, when people globally listen that we actually have done 1 billion vaccinations, really feel proud of it. And I think, as I said, as more and more people get vaccinated, the immunity level across the population increases, and therefore the likelihood of infections or perhaps the mortality because of that infection will come down. So I'm extremely delighted, and we've done in a very record time. And in fact, you would see rest of the vaccinations perhaps would happen with much more faster pace as the infrastructure has been created by the government. So it's really a proud moment, Jatin, for us.
Yes, surely, sir. And considering the fact that we have vaccinated more than 5 to 10 times the population of entirely developed countries, so it is really something to get proud because when this pandemic started, we were nowhere in front of these countries, and now we are just a benchmark, motivation for that country. So, sir, continuing with this
Yeah.
vaccination, now what we are seeing that the distribution in vaccination is roughly getting symmetric between the first vaccine takers and the second vaccine dose takers. So, what do you think?
Right.
And the government is as well thinking to start its export and donation program of vaccine. So, what are your expectations about the future course of vaccination in India?
No, I think so. As we go ahead, the production will go on. We got many vaccinations now. If you look at, you got Covaxin, you got Covishield, you have got Sputnik, and quite a few other vaccinations in the country. So I think it would be a good opportunity for us to also really help other countries at the same time meeting our own needs. So I mean, I think there are some other countries who cannot really afford, and we do have some responsibilities, towards those countries as being one of the major democracy in the world, to really help the poor in other societies as well, and at the same time taking care of our own people. So I think it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate to the world that we are just not the software hub, or we just not the IT hub, but we are also can also be the pharmaceutical hub.
Yeah, sir. And initially, I had seen that when we were sending vaccines to the poor countries, not only that, but the prime minister themselves were coming to take off that vaccines. This show that what
That's
was
right.
the value of vaccines for that countries.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And sir, now going on to the crux of the problem that was and the issues going around for past 1.5 year, the COVID crisis, the first wave, the deadliest second wave, along with the
Mm,
speculations of third wave that are going around, firstly in October, now in
mm.
January and December, along with the negative GDP growth last fiscal year. So, what is your future outlook on the COVID crisis in India and especially the Indian economy in future?
So basically, I think if as you would see, Jatin, the economy's activities have started. I think there was some hit that we had in wave two. We had to go through significant lockdown, and that perhaps decision helped us to really contain the COVID infections. Uh, I think it's been wonderfully managed by the government. And now you would see that the number of infections have drastically come down. The economic activities have picked up. If you look at any of the sectors, you would see the financial services sector, be it insurance, be it banking, financial services, manufacturing. If you look at automobile, all these industries have started picking up, which would actually, and then with the infrastructure, for example, I think this infrastructure had the biggest hit in past during the lockdown period. But I think it's coming up. So economic activities have started, which would really lead to significant contributions toward the GDP growth. So the outlook looks very, very positive going forward
And
for us, all of us as Indian.
and so,
Yeah, Jatin.
what about the third wave? Are there still speculations about third wave hitting India?
Well, actually, the waves, Jatin, will keep coming because if you look at it, this is an infection, and it's an infection which spreads like any other infections. But I think the critical point which I would like to mention is if you are fully immunized against that infection, then while the infection will happen, like all of us have in the cold, we get flu, we get fever, we get cough, our throat infections, etc., which is normal. We never actually complain on that. So, okay, it's the seasonal flu that we call it. Uh, and also, this cold, we can also spread the cold from one to another. If somebody has normal viral in the family, everybody in the family will have it. But it's not life threatening. I think by vaccinations, what we have seen is that the body gets immunized, and it has the ability to fight the COVID infection, and therefore the mortality will not happen. I think that's what is very, very important. So infections may happen, waves may come, number of infections may go up, but you vaccinated, then your likelihood of the death rate will drastically come down by that. So waves will come. I mean, Jatin, as there's some people are there who infected, they go into the society, they will infect other people. Fever may happen if the person is fully vaccinated. There could be sign of fevers for a few days, but if the person is fully immunized and has got antibodies, the body will fight back, and it'll just be kind of a fever, and the person does not necessarily have to get hospitalized. It can be home treated at home. So that's what it perhaps would lead to. So I think we all need to get vaccinated as soon as we can. And those students, I would say, through your this interaction, I would say if anybody has not gotten vaccinated, please get it done as soon as we can, the first opportunity.
Yes, sir. Vaccination is surely the biggest weapon against this COVID, and this will become the normal thing. It will get down from pandemic to a normal flu-like thing, and it will go on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So,
let's stay
sir,
optimistic, Jatin.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, Jatin.
Okay, sir. So now, after such a good insights on of COVID crisis on the Indian economy, I am keen to know what were the impacts of COVID crisis on the actuarial profession in general, and especially the insurance and banking sector.
Yeah. So I think there was, in the first, if I were to go to the wave one, we started in March and there was a complete lockdown. Uh, at that time, I think nobody knew what would we really do. People were sitting at home, and I think at that time, most of the offices got closed, etc. But I think over a period, as we found out that the treatment, the whole protocol for the treatment, etc., people started going to the office, in the wave one, and office started picking up. I think over a period, the companies have really digitized themselves. Something that could have taken 2 years or 3 years or 4 years to really digitize. The companies have done that in 6 months. And I think the risk has been, kind of converted into an opportunity to really automate the process, digitize it, work from home. We always were hesitant. Can it happen? Is it really possible to have people to work from home? And we always used to be reluctant. How what will be the efficiency? Will people really work from home? Will the productivity be there or not? But I think all those things, if you look at it, there was no other option. So all the human resource managers, the leaders, leadership team, we always used to be reluctant. But I think all this forced us to really experiment work from home, and it worked very well. And I think if you look at it, it's not just work from home; it could work from anywhere. So I think the companies have learned, have modified themselves very quickly, and I think it's business as usual now. If you look at it, so the companies have started hiring, and there are a lot of growth is likely to come from all companies. So for me, I think I would say it's moving towards normalcy. If you look at a lot of companies have started, people coming to office, maybe 3 days in a week, 4 days in a week type, and then you work from home. So it's hybrid model that company is starting now, and hopefully if we don't see the mortalities in the few months or the quarter to come, it would be like a normal scenario.
So, sir, what do you think that this work from home and hybrid mode will end as the pandemic end, or it will continue as a new thing for some of the sectors?
Well, actually, I think some companies have taken the call that there will be some roles which could be permanently work from home. There could be some role which could be hybrid, which would mean 3 days in a week from office, 2 days from home, and there could be some roles which would be fully from office because you can't really work from home because all the equipments, all the the whole environment is in the office. For example, somebody actually who is working in the investment department will have to work from home because all the your big large PC and all those decision making machines are sitting out there in your office. So it will vary from role to role, Jatin.
So, sir, what do you prefer, working from home, from office, or in hybrid mode?
Well, I think I think people are not tired of working from home. I would say majority because they want to come to office. You see, live face-to-face interaction is extremely important to connect with people, which perhaps got lost in all of this video conferencing. And you just seem like a movie. It's like, and therefore all that the video conference communication is just perhaps half the communication that you do with people. So all that you know, if you look at the emotional quotient, if you were to really see that, is much lower when you actually not interacting face to face. So I would prefer, I think, mostly from office and maybe a little bit from home, but it'll vary from role to role.
So, sir, yet at your place, you have started working from office, or it is going now also in hybrid mode?
Well, it's hybrid at the moment. It's hybrid. So I'm also kind of hybrid because I come 3 days in office and 2 days from work from home. I've created home office for myself, which is as good as my cabin.
So, sir, it's both convenient and comes with some cost. Work from home.
Oh, absolutely. You need to have, all the facilities that you have, the kind of facilities that you create in the office. You have to actually have similar facilities there to work from home. You don't want the disturbance from, your usual day-to-day activities. You have to be away from television. So all that thing will really help you to concentrate. Otherwise, you will not be able to concentrate on work that you've been doing. And it depends what work you've been doing. It's if there's a work which is require a lot of thinking, and if you don't have a separate area for yourself, you will not be able to really achieve what you want to, by giving privacy or separate room or for you. So it requires you to have office-like environment even with home. Not everybody has it, and particularly in the cities like Mumbai, it's very difficult. The real estate is not so cheap, so working from home makes it difficult. We don't have big homes like in Delhi in particular. So no, I think irrespective, you need to work from home is challenge. It's not so easy. That's what we realized actually during last few months.
Yeah, so same it is from the side of students who feel that it would
Yeah,
be very convenient to sit and take classes from home, but it was really so tough
yeah,
to go for it.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, sir,
The
so moving on.
fun of being in the college with your colleagues and eating chart out there, you can't really have that even taking the classes online.
Yeah, sure, sir. So, sir, moving on to the next question, I am going to about a profession that is gaining a huge importance nowadays, the enterprise risk management. This
Yeah.
profession has seen a huge growth in past few years, and especially after this COVID crisis, many companies has diverted much of its attention to enterprise risk management. So, you yourself
Mm.
being the enterprise risk management head at Kotak, and in general, what do you think about future of this profession in India and the contribution of this profession to the Indian economy?
Yeah. So I think, see, enterprise risk management, if you look at it, it's the holistic view of the entire organization from end to end. It's 360-degree view of the organizations. And the people who really can be the risk managers or CROs or head of enterprise risk management are the people actually who understand the business inside out, because they're not able to understand what are the risks, and there's so many parameters that affect the final outcome of the overall initiative or the discussion, the whole decision which is being taken by the company. And therefore, if you look at actuaries as risk officers, I think they are very well suited for this, because the whole training of actuaries goes into a lot of data analytics, database decisions, dealing with large data, and really drawing inference from that as to what makes sense. From this, assessing the risk, for example, in terms of what is the probability and the likelihood of that event happening, what could be the overall possibility of the loss, and estimating how much could be the maximum likelihood losses, and then seeing how could we really reduce those risks or mitigate those risks or transfer those risks to some other counterparties, because there are some companies who like to take those risks on their balance sheet, finding out those entities and transferring those risks, and then just have to manage the residual risks. And actuaries are very well competent in doing that, particularly in the financial services sector, where there are long-term contracts, like for example life insurance contracts. You have 40 years, 50 years, 60 years sort of policies, and then you just have to manage the mortality. You determine the premium today, which will be applicable for the next 60, 70 years, and those premiums should be sufficient for you to really pay those claims in future. And similarly, you've got savings products. If you're guaranteeing certain interest rate on the products, you should be able to sustainable. So I think actuaries are very well suited for those roles. And so I think more and more actuaries should be moving towards risk management areas. Unfortunately, we did not have so many actuaries in India. and most of the actuaries were working in product development, pricing, your valuations, reserving, all those sort of areas, and pensions. But as the number of actuaries, increases, hopefully we'll have more and more actuaries moving towards the enterprise risk management.
So, sir, this enterprise risk management decisions are very crucial for sustainability of a company because a slight mistake can lead it to bankruptcy. So,
Absolutely.
sir,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
what is the current trend? Is a ERM internally managed in a country or a company, or it is outsourced?
No, ERM is something that you cannot really outsource because you can take the help of some companies to help you in between to set it up or review it or give any suggestions, etc. But the risk management is core to the company. And actually, this and it's just on. It's not the role of just one person. CRO itself cannot manage the risk under the organizations. Just think about a person who is working in a branch, is dealing with customers, is actually leading to the risk. Now, a chief risk officer sitting in the head office cannot really manage that risk. And therefore, the risk culture has to be created in the organization. The person who is dealing with the customer need to understand, when I'm dealing with this customer, what risk do I have? Do I have the reputation risk? Do I have some other risks? Need to really identify and make sure that the behavior of each and every employee of the organization is actually risk oriented. And it's a big role in terms of making sure that the entire organization culture is actually understand the risks that we take in the organization. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable, how much appetite do we have for any risks, and board decide the appetite, how much appetite the company have, and then within appetite, people will have to work so that the aggregate risks happen in the organization is within the appetite as has been set by the board of directors. So yes, I think it's the role of everybody in the organization, and and the CRO would make sure that the aggregated risk in the organization are within the appetite.
So, sir, as per you, what is the toughest task in this process of setting up risk and managing it?
So I think the toughest task is really, when you have appetite, do you do top down or you do bottom up? And it's like chicken and egg. You say, well, how much risk would you like to take? And if you ask your stakeholders, which will be board of directors, they'll say, no, we don't want to take any risk. These are the profits we would like to have. So I said, okay, what if you lose half of these profits? So no, no, we can't lose the profits. You just have to have these profits. So I think you just really need to translate the feelings or the thoughts and the views of the stakeholders and translate those feelings and the views and the thoughts into quantify them and translate it into a number, saying, well, this is what you said, I'm translating that into a number, being an actuary, and this is what you said, and this is what the risk appetite is. I think that's something uh, which is important. And then actually distributing that risk appetite of the organization into various risks. You got operational risk, you got your market risk, you got your inflation risk, you got your risk, for default risks, and many risks that you have in the organization. And see that those risks, individual risks, will have to be managed within those appetites. Setting up all the limits for various people, so it's negotiating with them as a, this is what is your appetite. You just have to work within this framework. So I think initial setup of the risk framework is challenging, but then later on it just I think continuously monitoring that. But COVID-19 has been a big challenge for all the chief risk officers across the organizations. Think about when you have 5 times more deaths than the normal deaths that you have in just one quarter, which it's like never would have anticipated by anybody.
Yet, sir, but still seeing the COVID pandemic, most of the life insurance companies and health insurance companies have sustained through this path where mortality rate increased suddenly. So means that
Yeah.
yet there are some things that are kept as reserves for such
Oh,
pandemics.
that's right. I think most of the actuaries by nature are prudent, and they would be prudent in the basis, even if they expect mortality X, they would actually try and keep a cushion in terms of margins for adverse deviations, and keep X plus Y rather than just X. That's how the actuaries are trained to really make sure that the provisions are prudent to really meet any unfortunate or unwanted events in future. And obviously, if they don't get used, they get released over a period in the form of profits.
Okay, sir. So, as a CRO, when do you expect that at the start of the pandemic, when do you know that this pandemic is going to hit India and will have adverse effect on your company?
So I think we see basically when the pandemic hit, we knew that we likely to have some elevated mortality because if you look at it started in Italy, and then we started seeing some impact on the mortality. And to begin with, you were thinking, well, it's alien, it's not Indian. It'll remain there, it'll contain there. But later on, when you started seeing that people who came from there and actually infected Indian population, that's when you started imagining as to, well, we're going to have extra mortality. We started observing the population mortality, population infections, and start building on onto our mortality basis. And then later on, over a period, we started, looking at the trend, and then based on that trend, we started looking, well, this is a pandemic and we need to provide for that reasonably. So I think the first wave was the first lesson, but I think insurance companies, if you like, first wave, we'll only lost the people who are not insured, because most of the people, elderly people, and the substandard lives actually got affected by that wave one. So not a material impact, but actually I think in the wave two was devastating, wherein a lot of young lives expired, a lot of professionals expired, who could afford the treatment and who were insured. So second wave was devastating for all health insurance companies as well as for insurance companies. But yeah, I think this being prudent is the mantra which helped, and I think it's back to normal.
Yeah, so sacrificing profit for some time to save the companies, save the life insurance companies.
Yeah, see, basically the whole, yeah, I mean, that's what the solvency is for. You got huge amount of solvency margins in the companies. And insurance is for, paying to the people who need it, right? It's an umbrella. It's a protection for the people, for the family. If the breadwinner of the family is no more there, we as an insurance company come forward to really take care of the family by paying them lump sum, which can replace the income lost to the family. That's what the insurance companies are there, and we feel proud to really pay those claims to those widows and their families. And so we never think twice in all of this. That's what the insurance companies are for.
Yeah, sir. It's so proud to hear that insurance company were to the back of the one who were insured and lost someone who were the breadwinners of the families.
No, in
Sir,
fact, we were very, very particular about this, that the claim should be settled within a day or two. As soon as you get the claims, anybody infected, died, pay the claim.
yeah, and sir, this is what we see that Kotak Life Insurance is one of the leading life insurance company of India. This is the reason that you serves the customers. And sir, now going to something which is a topic of major discussion among the actual student community, the broader
Yeah.
domains in which the actual profession is expanding. I myself being an actual student and I aspire to work in banking and data science sector. So what are your views on this expansion of insurance, actual science sector to sectors other than insurance, banking, ERM, investment, data science, and others?
Yeah. So I think so. If you look at the actuarial students, or senior actuaries, or people who qualified actuaries, look at their core competencies. The core competency is probably probability and statistical models. Their competency is finance and economics, and the ability to deal with large data. It's given. I mean, there's something that they don't need to learn. They learn the entire process. They have better understanding of the data. They know the interpretation of the data, which is rare. If somebody just want to become the data science, data science is not about putting the data together, giving the output. But what do we do with that? Is very, very important. And that's when actuaries core competencies comes in handy, because the way they're trained in the examinations, they look at the data, they look at what inference do we draw from that, and then what can we do about it. If you look at, actuaries would really identify based on that data, that identify the risks, they will quantify it, and really, also transform the risk into opportunities. So say, for example, you people say, so, oh, this is risky, this is risk, but then if you can price that risk properly, it could be an opportunity for you. And therefore actuaries come very handy, particularly in this area. So for example, banking, banking risk management is very critical. I don't think it's been so recognized, but a lot of actuaries in South Africa have been working in banking in the area of risk management. And as banks move toward the risk based capital, rather than the formula based capital, actuaries would really be very important in terms of identifying how much, if and the capital that and bank has to have is based on how much risk that the bank is taking. More the risk, more the capital, and therefore actuaries would be very useful in finding out the risk based capital. Like insurance company, globally we are in Solvency 2 framework, where actuaries go and find out how much the capital that the company will have to hold. And therefore banking, and some of the actuaries in India also started working in banking. It was just a question of supply and demand. I think we did not have supply in past. As the supply goes up, a lot of actuaries will start working in data science analytics. Some of them already started working, and some actually have started their own company on data science analytics. You'll be surprised. And some actuaries have started working in banking. So as the supply side increases, we would really have quite a good amount of actuaries working in these areas, because they need it. Just that we didn't have it. The number of actuaries were much less. We still have much less number of actuaries than some of the other countries have. UK close to 15,000. We just have 300, 400, 500. I think last what I heard. So
500,
it's
500.
yeah. So it's quite less. So we need to really work on growing the number of actuaries. Opportunities will come by itself.
So, sir, seeing the 2007-8 financial crisis, it was just based on the risk that bank took, and that go
Hmm.
beyond the premium that they charge, technically speaking about it. So, what do you think if the actuaries has good role in the banks, can that crisis be avoided?
Well, some of those natural catastrophe cannot be avoided. Those risks will come, but you can anticipate those risks. If you anticipate those risks, you could have actually, let's say, reduced the exposure to those risks. You could have transferred those risks to somebody else. First thing is identifying the risk is very important, and then how do you treat those risks is extremely important. So. I think actuaries can really look at more technically on the defaults, for example, likelihood of defaults, which of the type of assets, for example, have higher likelihood of defaults, classifying them into various categories, etc. So doing more holistic analysis and translating them into, low risk, medium risk, high risk, very high risk, very high risk, and concentrate on very high risk. These are the things. If you want to do them, we need to do more due diligence, or less do that. Especially concentrate on the low ones.
Uh, yeah, surely, sir. So, sir, what do you think could be the prospective new domains for the actual profession, the domains which are not yet explored anywhere?
No, so I think the key areas in which the profession is likely to grow, apart from the traditional areas, I would say data science analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. I think inroads into the banking as banking moves to risk-based capital regime. We need more and more actuaries. The other areas is actually we still actually not fully explored the enterprise risk management. So if you look at in India also, you would all hardly see there are 24 life insurance companies. You may see two or three, four actuaries actually who are heading the risk managements because the actuaries are still mainly working in the core earlier traditional areas. So risk was still not being seen as the traditional areas if you look at it. So, but now I think a lot of people, quite a few people have started working on the risk side. And a risk actually risk management is just not limited to insurance. It could be banking. It could be any other financial services wherein actuaries can do add value in the risk management area in any financial services. So there's a quite emerging areas that I see. Uh, if some of the professions have started working on climate change and its impact on the lives of people. So that's an emerging area, but that'll come as we move along because climate change will become important. And there may be certain requirements on that from regulators, from governments. So then it would become very critical for us to look at, because if you got long-term contracts, you have to see how climate change will impact the various events that will happen. The flooding, the whole the earthquakes, and some of those things will change over a period, which would mean you have to look at the impact of that, possible impact of all of those climate changes in your business that you've been working. So some of these are emerging areas, but I think I believe we still have very less number of actuaries in the country. We need many more, and it takes a while for someone to become an actuary. So even if somebody starts now, it takes 4 to 5 years to qualify an actuary, and just qualifying is not enough. You just need the experience to really make sure you get right exposure, you get right people who can become your guru, so say, and help you to become a successful actuary.
So, what as per you might be the reason of actuaries preferring the insurance and pricing sector to the newer domains?
No, I think I would say it's traditionally because people like me, we don't have the role models for data science and banking, right? Because I mean, I started my career with LIC, so I will end up with LIC, right? Some of the peers of mine would be in LIC, they ended up in LIC, so because we were in LIC, so people started looking at, well, is the insurance in which they actually should work. And that's how most of the new students who come, they want to prefer working in insurance. But I think even in insurance there's a lot of demand for actuaries as we get into a lot of other areas, because even we're not able to supply even the experienced actuaries to insurance companies, and it's a global profession now. So a lot of actuarial hubs have started in India. So a lot of KPOs, if I were to use the word, have started in India. So a lot of global companies are targeting our actual resources in India. So there's a immense potential for one to get into this business, and it's not limited to geographical boundaries of the country. A lot of our actuaries are working outside India, and you'll see people working in Australia, people working in UK, Europe, people working in Southeast Asia, people working in US, Canada. So a lot of Indian actuaries are working outside India, and a lot of actuaries are actually supporting them while sitting in India.
So, sir, seeing the actual profession abroad, what you see is the difference between the status of actual profession in India compared to abroad countries such as US and UK.
When you say status, no, I think we all are member of International Actuarial Association. And in terms of the status, same. I think it's the same profession all across the world. Whoever are the member of IAA, the key profession globally are Institute of Actuaries of India, IFOA of UK, then I would say SOA of US. then there's Australian Institute, then South African institutes. These are the key actual profession globally, and the International Actuarial Association. Uh, those are all the institutes who meets the minimum requirements of their guidance or education curriculum. They become the member of IAA, International Actuarial Association. So we are all member of IAA. So same status. There's nothing as such.
So means our work actually working in US and India is same, just it's the difference of country.
That's right. So you fellow of India or the fellow of SOA, and India basically it's Institute of Actuaries of India. So I mean, quite a few students, our students also do it from UK, IFOA, because in our time actually, even when some of the our earlier actuaries they did it from IFOA because we did Actuarial Society of India at that time. It's just institute now. Now it's a statutory body. Earlier it was a society. So so I think UK and India profession are very closely net in terms of the course curriculum and very even our regulations are are when if you look at Insurance Act 1938 is was designed at the time when it was English time. So I think there's a lot of correlation between UK and India profession.
Yeah, sir. That's why we see major of
But
MNCs of
status wise,
UK
I
work
think
in.
yeah. So say for example, I am fellow of UK as well as India. Quite a few of people of uh, my peers would be similar. So I think you just need to be fellow. It doesn't matter where you are, a fellow of UK, fellow of India, etc. Just need to qualify as an actuary.
Just a matter of name.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want to
So
practice, I think the you if the practice in India as an actuary, as per the act, you need to be fellow FIAI.
yeah, legally to be recognized as an
Yeah,
actuary.
like chartered accountant profession, you just have to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
So sir, these actuarial exams are considered to be toughest, one of the toughest in the world. So what must be as per you the motivation for students to give up this exam and progress to this profession?
No, I think see, I understand that it's a difficult journey, and we ourselves have gone through that journey. And for my journey has been people of my age. The journey has been extremely difficult because we did not even have the study material. You guys are blessed to have a very detailed study material, etc. We used to have textbooks. Uh, so no, I think it's a journey which if you decided to become an actuary, just follow the path. There could be success in the way. You could pass the exam, you can fail the exam. Failing an exam, take this an opportunity for you to work more, bit more harder, look at your weaknesses, prepare for it and do it. The strongest subject that you have is the subject in which you failed. The weakest subject is the one in which you passed for the first time. So never ever, don't relate these exams with your university examinations because you'll say, "Arey, main to fail ho gaya." So what? It's okay. It's a professional examinations. You have to make 3-4 times more efforts to pass a professional examination than your university exam. And therefore, you just need to work hard to pass these examinations, and there's going to be a reward. You know. So you basically are doing this for a reward later on. Once you qualify as an actuary, you can work anywhere around the world. You can do your practice. You can work with a company, and you can do whatever you want to after becoming an actuary. You can actually manage your own investment portfolio. You can also advise other people. There's a plenty of opportunities for an actuary. You can advise people on pensions. So you can be a consultant. So it depends what you want to do as an actuary. So the whole journey after qualifying is rewarding. And so worth making that efforts. When you do a trekking, going to the top of the hill, the kind of pleasure that you get when sitting at the top of the hill and seeing the entire valley is the amazing feeling. So I think it's worth doing it if you want to get the full understanding of the financials, the full understanding of the economy, and do what you want to do after that. I mean, there's no dearth of potential for unqualified actually.
Yes, sir, and the profession is expanding day by day. So new and new areas are opening up, new lines are opening up for actuaries to work for.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And some of the initial examination period could be frustrating, but I think we just need to keep motivating ourselves. I know some people who never have even seen the syllabus of the examination would just criticize you. "अरे इस exam भी pass नहीं होता है," but they don't know how difficult these exams are. So if we ignore them, I think just motivate yourself. Self motivation is important, and motivate each other as a students, right? That's very important. So have your student colleague and strive to finish the examinations.
Surely, sir, motivation is one of the biggest tool to pass this examination. So, sir, what was the toughest subject for you in this actual career?
That's interesting. What was the toughest exam for me? I think it was the toughest and the easiest. Perhaps I think it was life contingencies, which at that time used to be 6 hours examination. I think it was toughest because it used to be 6 hours, 3 hours in the 3 hours in the second half. And by the time you actually are writing the second exam, you're so exhausted. And you had to pass in each of them individually. So that was at that time it used to called S3. Used to have S1, S2, S3 sort of examinations. So it was life contingencies where which used to be the difficult because 6 hours continuously. So I took a while to get through that examinations, but because I took a while to get through the examination, that's my strength now. I still remember the whole subject.
Yeah, the individuals who are failing and repeating our exams, that would be one of their most important strength because they have revised whole syllabus twice than the others.
Yeah.
So, sir, that's it from my side. It was very nice to interact with you. And I myself has gained very much from this session, and I hope our audience will also gain very much knowledge from this session.
Sure, sure. No, it's been nice interacting with you, Jatin, and I wish all the best to you and as well as all the audience who would be watching this video. And I wish them all the best, and whoever is taking the actual profession, wish them qualify as an actuary fastest. Okay, all the best,
Thank you,
and
sir.
wish everybody a safe and healthy time ahead. Okay,
Yes, sir. Wish you
thanks,
also a
Jatin.
safe and healthy time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the session and more importantly, gained some insights from it. We will soon come up with another such session with a renowned behavioral and labor economic professor. Stay tuned for it.